What's up, guys? So we are talking about Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, the adaptation that was made in 2022 that was supposed to have been released forever ago. In preparation for seeing it, I reread the book, and there are a lot of changes to characters that felt very unnecessary, but it kind of fits with the direction that this round of Poirot was going. But before I go any further, let me just let you know there will be spoilers, and I'm not responsible for you being spoiled if you watch past this point. The movie opens up with something that is 100% irrelevant. Like, they're trying to establish the reason why Poirot has a mustache, which it really is not that important. It's not, like, essential to his character. While, yes, Agatha Christie does describe Poirot's mustache a ton in the novel, it's not like a key moment where it's so important. And they tried to make it important, but, like, the only time you see that it's, quote, important is at the beginning and the end, because they may go, the reason why he has a mustache is because he got blown up in the war, and so he now has a deformity on his face from, being exploded. No. And the whole, like, it kind of bothered me a little bit, but all they did in Murder on the Orient Express was they hinted at Poirot potentially having a love once upon a time, and it's because of how that love turned out. That's the reason why he threw himself into his work. That's not Poirot's character. I have no idea what Michael Green's aim at with the way that he has adapted Agatha Christie's novels, but I am not really a fan. Like, dude, why would you change any of this? I question whether or not you actually read the book. You just decided, oh, I know enough about the story. This will be fine. Now, when you actually get into the meat of the movie, the actual story that is the Death on the Nile, I do feel like we are missing some things that help us as the audience kind of figure out how it is. It looks like they were definitely trying to hide all of the motivations for the murderers, because it is two. There are so many different, like, little tidbits and clues that are, like, left throughout the story in the novel that kind of help you piece it together of, like, oh yeah, it has to be the money-hungry dude and his lovesick lover. Like, it just has to be. Like, there are just different things that lead you to that. But I will say, I liked Gal Gadot as our leading lady that dies, Lynette Ridgway. Armie Hammer was okay as her husband turned murderer. I don't think he was English enough in the way that the character of Simon Doyle is described. I don't know. It didn't feel quite right. He felt a little American, not English. And he is very much described in the novel as being, like, proper English and handled his emotions and his whole demeanor in a very English way. I don't know, it didn't fit. The way, like, the whole experience of it is fine. I think the direction that Kenneth Branagh provided, I think it told the story that he was handed well. It's just not a very strong adaptation. It's okay. It's very mediocre. There were certain scenes that felt too long. Like, you only needed just enough to establish, you didn't need to linger. And they lingered a little on certain things, and because it didn't actually do anything. Like, it was literally a question I was asking myself while I was watching it of, what does this do to further the plot? Like, if anything, it establishes that Simon Doyle is a very fickle man and could change at the drop of another $1 million. Like, the cinematography was beautiful. I mean, all the scenery was amazing. The costuming looked wonderful. there's just some aspects of the characters that it just didn't feel right. I've kind of diverted a little too strong from the source material, and it makes me question whether or not it will help the franchise if they are looking to adapt more of Agatha Christie's novels, if it will do well. Because there are several other adaptations of her stories that have been made into like miniseries, like within the last several years, that kind of stick a little more faithful to the Poirot that we know, like from the books, that is not really romantic. He likes his work. He doesn't need a love story. He doesn't need to be flustered by a woman, which was another thing that existed in this. It did not feel very Poirot. That's what I got. Any other thoughts that I have that may have either been left on the editing room floor, or I just decided to save it for the blog post, will be in the blog post, which you can find the link down below. And if you have any suggestions of like books, movies, shows, whatever, like podcasts that you would like to hear my take on, you can leave those in the comments down below. But that's it for me. I will see you next video. Bye. Don't